So if something like gay marriage, which again, like any single actor agrees with, every single political influencer agrees with, like even being against it, you would be considered like a radical extremist. Even that didn't pass in California. Like in fact, people actually went there and voted the opposite. Now I'm not sure if any referendum in the US actually had people agreeing with it. I mean, I'm probably sure there is. I just couldn't find any. If you know, let me know in the comment section. No, seriously, I'm actually interested in this. Because as I was doing research for the video, and the reason I'm talking about gay marriage in particular, is that certain things that are taken for granted, like certain things that you believe are fully supported and that are fully ingrained into culture, when you look into it, you realize, well, actually, if you ask people, you make a referendum, right? So you don't have like a polling agency that goes in a town and only ask 1,000 people, and they fidget the data or they frame the question in a way that's difficult to understand. No. Like if you generally have a referendum, if you generally have an election and this is the cause, you will see that a lot of progressive ideology is not supported by the average citizen. Even the citizens that you would think are very left-leaning. I mean, in Ireland, you could say it's one of the progressives mecca of Europe, if you include the United Kingdom in Europe, because they're on an island. So. But no, like Irish people are incredibly left-leaning, right? And even they, when it comes to this referendum, they're like, no. Right? And it's why the European Union doesn't want to do referendums anymore. Like Jean-Claude Juncker, when he was the president of the EU, he said, if you want to destroy Europe, keep doing referendums. Because up until that point, the European Union was trying to advertise itself. We got European values. We champion human rights. We're big on democracy, right? Because they wanted to sell like that in order for people to accept the EU constitution and to accept the EU as a super state. So they were basically saying, oh, no, your nation is backwards. Look how corrupt your politicians are. Look how bad things are in your nation. But if you join the European Union, we're going to force your politicians to be decent. We're going to force democracy into your corrupt nation. And once they got a lot of power, no more referendums. The European Union is one of the most corrupt parliaments in the entire Europe, by far. And we're not talking about corruption as in hypothetical, but like people that were caught and convicted of taking money from the Chinese or taking money from the Russians and like the bribery and stuff, right? Like actual convictions. The European Union has more of those than any other parliament in Europe. Like it's a huge percentage by the time you go to the second. And you get to notice like how things really work in the world, right? Like how well the manipulation machine actually works. When they get you, because I genuinely thought, unironically, I thought that like certain left-leaning issues are so ingrained in culture and no one probably fights against them that there would be no point in even bringing them up. But the reality is, and once I noticed this with Ireland, is that actually very few people are genuinely far left. It's just that the far left has a stranglehold on the culture, on the establishment. They control certain key gatekeeping institutions. So for instance, you want to work in Hollywood, like notice how most Hollywood actors have the same opinions on everything. They agree on all the issues, and all of them. You know, how many Hollywood actors are like outright right-wingers, outright right-wing populists, or populists in general? And when you have a Hollywood actor that's even a left-leaning populist, and they don't take the correct side when it comes to Israel and Palestine, immediately they get ousted. You know, you can have a Hollywood actor going on Twitter insulting the fans, insulting the customers, insulting the IP, taking the piss on everything. But the moment they do not have like the correct opinion on a controversial issue, which the establishment tries to make it that it's not even controversial to begin with, they get fired. No more free speech. If I was back at law school, I would write my PhD on it. Well, I probably can't because I'm in Romania and that would be of American law. But okay, if I was in an American law school, I would write my PhD on it because you got Roe v. Wade, right? The American Constitution doesn't mention abortion in the slightest. Like the founding fathers, I don't even know if they had the technology to perform it back then, right? But the idea was that the relationship between a person and his doctor is private. So that is just like between the person and the doctor, and because of that, you can't infringe, like the government can't infringe. But during the pandemic, the government did infringe. It's like, no, you need to show vaccination code, like your medical knowledge is not private anymore, public health, yada yada. And the left was supporting it. So a lot of people took advantage of that. And it's like, oh, well, now is the time. And so it's not my body, my choice. Okay. Have it your way. So they removed Roe v. Wade from the Constitution. Now, most people at the time, the way it was sold on the media and the actors is like, oh, now abortion is illegal in the United States. No, that's not what it means. It means that the states get to vote on it. So it's democracy. You know what they're arguing? Oh, democracy this, democracy that. But they don't want democracy when it's leftist policy. Leftist policy should be non-debatable. Leftist policy should be viewed as the normal. And if you're not normal, then you're abnormal, right? So this is what they're afraid of, really. They're afraid of the vote. They don't want issues to be voted. Notice how in America they never talk about issues anymore. And what I mean by this, they don't go at a television talk show to talk about the involvement in Ukraine. And you would have like one politician that's for, one politician that's against. Or the conflict in the Middle East. And you'd have like one politician that's for and one politician that's against. Or printing money, increasing the national debt. And you'd have one that's for. They don't do that at all. The important issues don't get discussed. What does get discussed? Oh, let's talk about like my favorite video that came out last year was Hillary Clinton talking about gay rights in Uganda. I'm sure that's an important thing, but like when a person from the audience started asking her about domestic American policy, she was very offended. Do you think I talk about the American stuff? No, I talk about homosexuality in Uganda. And that is the establishment in the US, treating people with bread and circus. Because at the end of the day, like the LGBT issues in Uganda are very important if you're in Uganda. But you expect that the American politicians to talk about American issues, right? Not to subvert your expectations. I mean, like seriously, what can you even talk about LGBT issues in Uganda if you're American? Yeah, they're great. I mean, yeah, okay, amazing, right? How much money do we spend? How much of my taxpayer money? Like, I come home from work, I'm tired, my back is broken, I've been working for 10 hours. How much of my money do you want to give to the Ugandians so that they can be more enlightened like us? I mean, this is what the conversation is about, right? Let me know what you guys think. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link into the pinned comment section. It takes you over to my Patreon and PayPal. And you can support the channel. If you don't like to use those services, I also have a subscribe star. Important to notice. Look, I got to shill. If I don't shill, who's going to shill for me? Are you going to shill for me or not? But I will give you buyer's remorse if you donate. So I'll see you guys there. Take care.